You are live. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Monday night live, and we are back again with another jam-packed episode of Monday Night Live. Just going to bring up the comments while we wait for some people to join the call. If you're with us, why don't you drop your city in the comments so we know where you're tuning in from. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? You can hear me now. Let's just stir that down. We've got a lot of content to go through today. I'm quite excited, and I've got a surprise guest that'll be joining us very, very shortly. I'm waiting to see some of the comments come through. Let us know if you're on the call, guys. I'm watching on LinkedIn here. It's always a little bit of a delay. Before we introduce our special guest today, I'm going to talk, first of all, about another platform, not LinkedIn, where I've been getting a lot of leads internationally. Hey, here we go. Just starting to come through now. We've got David, Jeevan. Hi, guys. Rania, Ari. Guys from all over the place. Dubai, Melbourne, Sydney, Gold Coast. Awesome. Dudes, I want to talk about YouTube because we've been getting a lot of content on YouTube lately, and it works very different to other sites because it's not a social media site. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world and owned by Google. Very important piece, and that's where evergreen content and relevant content is going to do exceptionally well. The one thing that I think most people don't get about YouTube is it's not about likes and comments and views. They play a part, but it's very different to social media. It's actually based very much on retention. So how long is somebody actually watching the videos for? So if Jeff posts an hour-long video and Sally posts a 2-hour-long video, Sally's at an advantage because there's more chance that people will watch her video for longer. The best videos that I've got on my YouTube channel are generally around between half an hour and an hour, so the longer content. And then normally I use those to chop them up and make shorter videos as well. YouTube, there's a lot that goes into it. It's, I've been doing this for a long time now, and I've just started to get traction out of it. It's really powerful. Things like your thumbnail and your headline become really important. So I think it's worthwhile just doing some research, look what people are searching for, and focusing on a niche. I think a lot of people start a YouTube channel without a very specific niche. I'm guilty of this myself, talking about all sorts of different things. So YouTube doesn't actually learn what your content is and then can suggest other videos to people that are on YouTube. Over 50% of YouTube content generates engagement. YouTube's the quickest way to get on page 1 of the Google search results. Companies that use video have a 50% customer retention rate. Over 90% of videos on YouTube are not effectively optimized. So there's the opportunity, right? Most people are doing it wrong, especially business people. Like most of the stuff on YouTube is like gaming, or it's for kids or makeup. If you're in business, there's an opportunity there because most people don't know what they're doing. What's cracking? We've got a good turnout today. Hey, Gia, nice to see you. Lance, how are you, mate? Got some people from all over the place. Okay, yep. David, Chadston, Martin Stark, somebody from Zambia on the call. Awesome. Guys, let me know in the comments if you want to know more about YouTube, and I will come back to it shortly. We're just going to touch on it very briefly. Okay, now 3 solutions to every single problem. Okay, we all have problems, and if you grow your business or you grow your influence and you grow your career, guess what? You're going to get bigger problems. So, I mean, one way to become more successful is to create bigger problems, and then you have to come up with bigger solutions. So with most problems, like there's 3 categories that I generally put them into. You can either, number 1, accept the problem. If you can't accept the problem, you move to option number 2, which is change it. And if you can't change it, then you just got to leave it and move on. So imagine like if you had a pen and paper in front of you, I want you to draw a circle, a small circle, and then you draw in that circle everything that's within your control. So it might be, the responsibilities that you have at work, fixing your car, taking your kids to school. And then you want to draw a bigger circle around that and all the things that are outside of your control. Some of the things you can't control, like for my example, if we generate leads for a client, are they going to call the leads? Is that in my control? I have some influence, but I can't control all of it, right? And so accept it, change it, or leave it. All right. What strategies do you use for problem solving? Let me know in the comments below. Hey, Mohammed from India. Lee from Brisbane. Gemma Goodchild's on the call. Gemma's going to do some timestamps. So the replay on YouTube is you're going to have these links so you can go to different sections. That's another trick as well, because every time somebody clicks on a link, it's another view, right? One of the things that you're going to encounter in your professional career, we're all going to encounter it, and in business, is failure. So how do we deal with failure? I think that being successful, I mean, over the years, I'm still learning, but I've met a lot of successful people. I've interviewed quite a lot of successful people now. And what interests me is their relationship with failure and how quickly they bounce back from failure. So if you're scared of failure, it can ruin your life, because if you're chasing certainty all the time, you're never actually going to dive into anything. You've always got to have some sort of uncertainty when you jump into anything. And I hate to say it, but the other thing is we're very much cautious of what people think of us these days. It's all about, how we look on social media, and we're editing the photos to make, ourselves look better and posting what's not really there and what's fake. And that can do a lot to confuse the mind on how to be happy on the journey to happiness. So fear of failure will ruin your life, and it holds most people back from living the life of their dreams. So the understanding that failure is not actually a bad thing. It's actually something that's positive. It's necessary on the road to success. If you do something and it doesn't work out, you found out one more way that doesn't work. Thomas Edison talked about this when he created the light globe. And he said he found, so many ways that didn't work before he found one that did. Positive way to look at it. But I think that what a lot of us do, and this is something that I want us all to avoid, is play the blame game. The blame game is the lame game. So take 100% responsibility and try and take as much responsibility as you can, because the more responsibility you take, the more in control you are to change it, and the more chance you have changing your life. So you're not your failures. You don't want to identify with them, and you're not your successes either. Don't let things go to your head. At the end of the day, acknowledge what happens, learn from it, and move forward. There's no point looking back in the past again and again and again, because you're not heading that direction. It's all about where you want to move, what you can learn, and moving forward. Hello from Cape Town. Jesus, good to see a global audience joining us. Anyone else? Can anyone go live on LinkedIn, Nathaniel, Monty? Look, not everyone's has access to LinkedIn Live yet. You can apply for it. So if you apply, just Google LinkedIn, apply for live broadcast, and you should be able to get an approval, but not everyone can do it yet. It's it's off of LinkedIn. The streaming is through a third party. So it's a little bit, I think they're testing and measuring the technology, but it is pretty cool, pretty powerful stuff. So I'd encourage you to apply to it. So I want to hear what your thoughts are on bouncing back from failure. And if you've had, failures in the past, how you've learned from them and moved on. So drop some comments below with your feedback on that section. After the live, we're going to be looking at all the feedback, and we're going to be providing better content next week. So if you think any of it's good or crap or whatever, just let us know. Where's my guest? Hey, Shill, Marshall, how are you? Where is my guest? Is she joining us? Or where is she? She may join us soon. I've given away that she's a female. All right, guys. So I want to know more about this coronavirus. I don't watch the news, but I am a little bit concerned about people leaving the shopping centres with so much toilet paper in Australia. And I'd imagine the confidence would be lower in the US. This is something that I don't think is going to blow out of proportion. I don't actually know enough about it to comment for sure. But even if it's something that does not blow out of proportion, I think it's a reminder for all of us just to be ready, because I think that winter is coming. During the next decade or so, during our career, we're going to have another economic downturn at some point. And I think it's important that we've cashed up. You're ready and prepared to ride through the downtimes, because things are quite good, or have been quite good for the last couple of years. And I think it's very easy to become complacent and assume that it's always going to be like that. And I'm just not sure that it will be, So let's see if we can get our guest on the call. Bear with me 1 second. There she is. Sally, do you want to check your email? And I've got the link in there for you. I've got Sally Illingworth stepping in to join us. She wants to talk about referrals with us. Sally, check your emails. I've emailed you the link to join. Let me just make sure that I've got the correct place. Drop me your thoughts with about the coronavirus in the comments, please. I want to share some of the feedback with people. I'm just going to try another email for Sally. She can join us. iCloud. Here we go. There she is. All righty. There she is.
I just got off a call and I was like, where's the link?
You there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Oh.
Yeah. Just bear with me 1 second. Here, I'm going to put these things in. That way I don't disturb the viewers. How are you today, Sally?
I'm well. How are you? I thought you almost forgot about me. I was checking the WhatsApp and I was like, where's this link? And then I came on the LinkedIn Live on LinkedIn and you're like, oh, where's the guest? And I was like, I'm here.
Oh, look, let me change this to headphones. There we go. All right. So, Sally, you've been pretty active on LinkedIn the last couple of years. I don't really take much notice of most LinkedIn trainers and LinkedIn posters, but you caught my attention, didn't you?
Yeah, you caught mine as well, actually. Oh, good. How's that?
Yeah, how's it all been going lately?
Good. Interesting. I think it's sort of better, as good as it has been really for me. I think, it's sort of probably at the point now where, it's almost overwhelming how much opportunity is coming and oozing through LinkedIn, if you like, particularly in the early days. I know myself, I just spent so much time trying to figure out how the platform worked because I was, as 2 years ago, I'd still never really used the platform, so I didn't really know what was going on. It's exciting. I'm really excited.
But there's a lot more people on LinkedIn than there was a couple of years ago, isn't there?
Oh, certainly. And even with the, I've only been on there now, say 2 years, actively using the platform. And even in that 2 years alone, what I've noticed in terms of how it's changed has been quite significant. You look at, for example, the benchmarks and the KPIs I started to develop around video views and organic reach around videos. When I first started 2 years ago versus now, that has drastically changed. The organic reach is still great, but because there's so many more people using the video feature now, it changes that dynamic. There's more dilution and all that sort of stuff. So yes, it's changing a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, like every couple of weeks, I'll be like, "Oh my god, my views have dropped. Why?" And by the time you figure it out, something else changes.
Yeah.
Non-stop. So we actually are here to talk about referrals and how to build a referral-based business. How have you used LinkedIn as part of that process? I mean, is LinkedIn a big part of your lead generation?
Yeah, massively. It's interesting because I actually always tell people really honestly that probably about 99.9999% of all of the opportunities I have that come through the LinkedIn platform, I don't pursue. And, some people are like, oh, well, that's really arrogant of you, or like, why wouldn't you do it? It's interesting. That just goes to showcase the amount of opportunity that actually comes through the platform. And that's really what I put it down to. But on that note, even though, 99.999% of the opportunities that come through I don't pursue, LinkedIn's still a large part of my business in terms of lead generation, network building, which then extends into offline opportunities for, referrals and deal flow and all that sort of stuff. So I know that based on where I currently am at this point in time and what I spend most of my time doing, that all wouldn't be possible if I hadn't have been investing time into LinkedIn like I have been and using it the way I'm using it. Even though a lot of that deal flow, say, might not come about specifically through the LinkedIn platform, through private message conversations and so forth, I know it exists off the back of what I'm doing on the LinkedIn platform.
Because you're always out and about. I see you're always at meetings, you're always at events, you're always posting pictures with people. You're a very social person.
I think what's funny is I don't even post half the stuff because I'm like, I've got such a backlog And then I'm like, shit, I didn't post that, you know?
Yeah, that's cool. Because I think if somebody's a social person, they're already doing like meetings and stuff like that, LinkedIn can like add a lot of value to that. You just got to be careful about sitting around behind the keyboard all day.
Oh, certainly. And I know, actually, interestingly, a lot of the people I've spoken to about LinkedIn, and even myself, when I first got started, I actually made it a massive priority to connect with a lot of people that I was meeting through LinkedIn, off of LinkedIn, so that I could really understand how that dynamic works, you know, like, okay, so I'm publishing this content, people start to pay attention, they start to tune in routinely, okay, they are interested in what I'm talking about, then how do I actually manage that relationship when I take it offline? Because I think it's easy for us, you know, to your point about getting stuck behind a keyboard, it's easy for us to get stuck in tunnel vision where we just want to live online. It's like, no, you need to take it offline. So I actually spent a lot of time learning what that dynamic was like and how best to sort of manage that. And also how best to sort of, I suppose, align those conversations and be able to sort of better pick and choose and filter through, you know, to understand what's going to be better for the business.
I think it was about probably a year ago, we did like this Unleash the Power of LinkedIn Content Creation in Melbourne, and we caught up for a drink. And I said, you said to me you were looking for an assistant because your inbox is overflowing, and like I've had similar frustrations with managing my inbox, and you know, so important for both of us, I think, to be authentic. How have you been coping with managing the volume of messages that you get?
I still don't manage it. That's a problem. You know, it was actually probably about...
I appreciate the honesty.
No, seriously. And I'm always saying that to people, you know, and some people that say, for example, I have met offline and maybe I'm connected with on, say, you know, WhatsApp or email, you know, even you and I, and you message me on LinkedIn, it's like, dude, can we just like talk off of LinkedIn? Because I often lose conversations. It's so funny. It happens all the time. But there was one incident in particular that I absolutely could not stop pissing myself laughing about, because there was this one guy, and, you know, I was sorting through LinkedIn messages I hadn't seen, hadn't read, and I responded to him, because even if I haven't responded for 12 months, if I find it, like, unless it's, you know, like a silly message and there's really no purpose to it, you know, someone's asking you to marry them, or how hot they hit you up, I will still respond, even though it looks awful. And I remember this one guy, and I did it as I had with other people, and I said, look, I'm so sorry, you know, that I missed your message, but I just want to say I've received it. I know, you know, a long time has passed, blah, blah, blah. And it was funny because we ended up connecting on the phone, and he said, you literally responded a year to the day to the message. And he's like, and we still talk now, and I've connected him with a few people and whatnot based on what he's working on. But yeah, so I wouldn't say I've got it 100% nailed. But
so if you're listening and you've sent Sally a message within the last 12 months, there's hope.
Yeah. You know, the other thing, actually, that was a big thing I'm really honest with people about, you know, particularly when I started with LinkedIn, because I didn't have a specific business or commercial objective. I didn't have the systems and the processes in place. I wasn't prepared to deal with it. And so that's a big thing I always talk to people about. And I say, you know what? If you are using LinkedIn for business, make sure you think about this stuff, because, you know, you might not have as many messages as I, or maybe you've got more. But what's important is that if you are using it as a relationship building tool, then you want to make sure you're on the forefront with that stuff, because, I mean, I'm 2 years in and I'm still trying to play catch up, and it's not good for relationship management with people. You know, it looks sloppy. It really does. Like, I'll admit that it looks sloppy, you know? Yeah,
it's hard to manage. Yeah. There's no simple answer, I suppose. It's just the way it is. I guess it comes with the territory when you got a lot of people in your audience. I always say to people, like, it'd be a lot easier to have like 1,000 people that were really targeted than it would to have the amount that you and I have got. I don't think mine I'm pretty targeted because I've grown the network proactively, but like what I know now, I would have done it a lot differently from the start. You know, be a lot more specific.
100%. Yeah. And, you know, I think that's another interesting conversation at the moment, you know, especially surrounding LinkedIn, is like, you know, the difference between being highly targeted and then just going for that mass scale awareness and attention. And what does that actually mean from a business perspective? Because, you know, most people are not in the position where they have that luxury of not being able to have targeted conversations and such. But at the same time, they feel pressured not to miss out on this, you know, influencer landscape. So it's hard, you know, people are like, well, I'm a business owner and I'm getting bogged down by my LinkedIn profile, but it's not actually generating any business for me. And that's where strategy becomes really important.
Yeah, like she could have 20,000 followers. And I was watching Seth Godin, and do you know Seth Godin?
Yes, he's coming to Australia.
No way.
He's coming. Yes, I'm going.
I have to interview him.
He's coming
Awesome.
in May.
Yeah.
In May he's coming, and I'm totally going. I've actually got the tickets if you want one. He's coming.
I'm in. He said, he goes, you can have 10,000 followers on Facebook. He said, but it doesn't mean anything for your business unless you can, like, if one of them's in New Zealand and you can go to New Zealand and say, hey, I'm in town, and they'll let you crash on the couch. Like, if you've got a real relationship with them, it doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? Really powerful, yeah. He's like, I've got 300 friends around the world. I don't know, like, and they'll let me crash on their couch. He goes, those are real relationships. And I thought, yeah, because it's so easy to get caught up in the scoreboard, isn't it?
From a business perspective, like, you know, we're in this age where business owners, you know, they're getting pressured, be online, be present, you know, have that profile. But it's like, how do you balance that with actual business objectives and being able to measure the ROI of your activities online? And that's where I think what we'll see, I don't know what you're excited about at the moment with, say, something like LinkedIn. That's what I'm really excited about, because is that sort of conversation, because I think it's going to change in the near future. You know, I think a lot of people, even some people I speak to, and they get sold these dreams, but it's not working for their business, because I think a lot of people in the market probably aren't differentiating between, say, you know, large scale branding exercises and then actual genuine lead generation for a business. And, you know, if you're in a business scenario where you are short of leads, you can't afford to be spending all of your time and effort on these large-scale branding exercises that take a longer time to give you an ROI. Yes. But really, that's the easiest thing for service providers to sell, say, like, you know, whether it's you or I or anyone else on LinkedIn. Yeah. So it's hard for business owners in that sense to sort through the advice that's out there and figure out what the best option for them is.
Yeah. You just got to be like, LinkedIn is the cocktail party. You don't sell at the cocktail party. You set the appointments and you sell somewhere else in private, like you normally would.
What's been your biggest, I know this is sort of now I'm reversing the table, but what's been your biggest learning in terms of how you translate, say, conversations or referrals or whatever it is off of LinkedIn? Like, what's been your biggest thing?
As soon as the conversation starts, I'm like, what's your phone number? What's your phone number? Yeah. What's your phone number? And then I call them, I ask them 4 or 5 questions. And if they answer, they have answers for those and they're qualified, then I'm like, okay, let's have another meeting. And I'll come to that prepared to sell to them. There's never, ever any discussion on LinkedIn about what we do or what, you know, like, if they ask me, like, what do we do? What are the prices? More than happy to answer your questions. What's your phone number?
Yeah.
You know? Because if you lose all control on social media. So you just got to take the conversation offline. So I measure conversations. I measure how many conversations I start through LinkedIn. I don't measure, like, how many people send me their credit card details through the message function.
No, I love that. And that's a big thing for me. Is, you know, I'm always explaining to people, like, the goal is to get these people that you actually genuinely want to talk to and they know they can get value from you. There's that exchange opportunity there. You have to get them into a proprietary system, whether it's on the phone, in your email database, whatever it is, because if they've expressed that interest, you want to make sure that you are migrating them to the right place so that you can actually look after them and have a conversation with them. Because if you leave it all on social media, then really that conversation isn't proprietary to you, because if the LinkedIn algorithm changes tomorrow, if they get rid of the message feature, like, see you later, there goes your whole business, you know?
I reckon stories are coming. I reckon you're going to blow up, Sally, because your stories on Instagram are worth watching.
You think I'm going to have to change my story strategy? What do you think?
Yeah, maybe. You're not the only one. Guys, let me know. I want to hear some feedback from everybody in the comments. How have you translated conversations from LinkedIn into offline discussions? Let me know in the comments. Sally, if there was one more question that I would ask you before we wrap up, what would it be?
Oh, I don't know. What, you want me to tell you the question to ask me?
So what's the question no one ever thinks to ask you?
That's always the hot one.
What'd you say? Say it again. My earphones dropped out.
What I think about engagement pods. That's always the hot one.
Oh, we haven't got 45 minutes.
No, I don't know what question.
Engagement pod's a good one. So, yay or nay? Is it a thumbs up or a thumbs down from Sally Illingworth?
For the average person, no. Unless you're large scale branding exercise, yes, 100% go for it. But to the conversation we were just having, if you need to be very targeted, if your budget's constrained, if you don't have the luxury of time on your side with your social media marketing exercises, then I definitely wouldn't, because really at the end, the other thing is as well, with a content strategy, if you are using engagement pods, it's very, very difficult from a resource and time investment perspective to know what content assets you should invest more in developing if you don't actually know what the genuine performance is. That's where it becomes a little bit difficult to actually use them and leverage them. But one question that I'll throw my 2 cents out there, what I'm excited about on LinkedIn is how they are slowly going to better optimize the platform for content creators like yourself, myself, everyone else who's getting into this space, even though a lot of them are late to the party. But, if you look at the way your profile's laid out, you've got the post section, all activity documents and so forth. I think in the near future, be exciting when they start putting in videos tabs, photos tabs and so forth, so that from a content creator perspective it's more optimized and it's better for the user and your audience to be able to sort through and find the content they want. So
have you one more question before we wrap up, have you stocked up on toilet paper for the coronavirus?
It's funny, I did accidentally, because I was buying bulk, but I didn't realize. And I bought one of the last bulk packages, and then everyone's like, "Oh, there's going to be no toilet paper," which is absolute, mind my language, crap, like bullshit. No pun intended. But sorry, I know that's probably not appropriate here for you, because all the toilet paper is produced domestically for the most part anyway. But yes, I have stocked up. And
I went to the bottle shop yesterday. I thought Corona would be on special. It was still $50 a carton. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, really? Yeah. Do you know what? Actually, in an Uber today, interestingly, at one point today, they were running a 40, I want to say 20 or 40% off campaign. And I was wondering whether or not it has anything to do with the fact that people are using Uber less because of the virus, because it was quite bizarre for it to be discounted that significantly. So interesting.
Interesting time. Sally, thanks for joining us. We're going to wrap it up now, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Have an awesome week. It's Monday night. We're out of here.
Bye.